So to start this session, we have an academic feature on Freemium Uncovered, the Cases of Mating and Music by Professor Jui Ramaprasad, DeSautel's Faculty of Management, McGill University. Professor Ramaprasad joined the DeSautel's Faculty of Management in 2009. She received her doctorate in Management Information Systems from the Paul Mirage School of Business at the University of California, Irvine. She holds a BS from the University of Southern California. Professor Ramaprasad's research examines the impact of user-generated information online. Specifically, she examines the impact of online consumer-to-consumer communication on the consumption of digital goods, currently examining this within the context of the music industry. Welcome, Professor.
Hello. Is it good? Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me to be here. Today, I'm going to talk about the freemium model a little bit, Freemium Uncovered, the case of music and mating. Hopefully today I'll unlock some of the mysteries behind freemium in terms of what encourages people to pay for music, or not pay for music, sorry, pay for premium features, as well as sort of break down some of the features that are in these premium subscriptions and really understand the behavioral impacts of them. So you'll see how I'll do that in the next few minutes. So in the next 45 minutes, I'll first overview what the freemium business model is. Talk about influence, engagement, and music. So what drives people to pay for premium subscriptions in the context of a music site. Look at one specific feature on an online dating site that is part of a premium model and see how that feature impacts behavior. And finally, I'll wrap up with some conclusions and implications. So we know that there are several online business models that are out there. So some of them are free models, or implicitly free models, right? So when we go on Twitter or use Facebook, play a video on YouTube, or do a Google search, we don't feel like we're paying for anything, right? So these are business models that are free. On the other side of this, we have some sites that operate behind a paywall. So it's really hard, for the most part, to access any articles in The Economist or Financial Times, for example, without actually paying for it. If you've ever used a music site, RDO, you also have to pay to access any of the music on their site, right? So you can get a free trial for a lot of these things, but in general, they're paid. In between these are the freemium models. So a lot of these are not available in Canada where I live or here, but I'm sure many of you guys have heard of Spotify, the online music site, use Dropbox, Skype, a lot of us use Skype, Flickr, the photo sharing site, Hulu, online video, Match.com, online dating, LinkedIn, SurveyMonkey, Last.fm. So these are all sites that employ this freemium model. And the idea behind the freemium model is that there's a free version where you can get most of the functionality that you need for free. You don't have to pay. But then you get a set of premium features if you pay a subscription, maybe $3 a month or $10 a month, depending on which of these sites you're going for, right? So freemium is, in fact, a dominant online business model, as you might see with a lot of your experience. But one of the issues is that converting users to premium is actually quite difficult. So premium users are rare. In Last.fm, the number of premium subscribers is about 1% or in the single digits. This number is higher. It's about 25% the last time I saw statistics on this for Spotify. But for Spotify to get 25% premium users was really challenging. It took a very long time for them to do that. The issue is this is where the money is, right? This is where sites make money off of their users. Premium users on Last.fm are 32 times more profitable than free users are, right? So it's difficult to convert users to premium, although they're the ones who actually make the money for the site. So we sort of wanted to look at this in a little bit more detail. So the first question we'll ask is what drives consumers to convert to premium subscriptions? And within these premium subscriptions, you have a variety of premium features, right? So if we think about online music sites, you can listen without hearing advertisements in your radio play. You can have unlimited access to whatever music you want through a variety of devices, right? On your mobile, on your PC. You can listen to the music offline, and there are many more. On online dating sites, the other type of sites I study, you can browse without advertisements, you can have enhanced search to maybe better find the partner you're looking for, you can see who rated you highly, and then you have anonymous browsing. So these are all features that are included in the premium models, but what we don't know, we always sort of look at how does premium subscription impact behavior, but what we don't know is if these individual features actually add value. So the second question we ask is, what is the causal impact of the individual features that are part of premium subscriptions on the actual behavior of the individuals? And why does this matter? We care about people converting to premium because these companies care about making money. The people who use freemium care about making money. And we care about these individual features because small feature changes can end up having large impact on outcomes, right? So in the online dating context, maybe a small feature change actually impacts the outcome, the search for your perfect mate, right? So the first part of this talk is about influence, engagement, and music. So what motivates people to pay? So there's been some research done on this already, and we're sort of putting this together and trying to finish the cycle. So prior research has shown that there is peer influence and engagement itself, some of the research that I've done. So you're more likely to contribute to a site. You're more likely to be socially engaged in a site if your friends on the site are socially engaged. My colleagues Ravi Bapna and Ahmed Urmiev studied peer influence in terms of subscriptions. So they found that there's a 50% higher likelihood of subscribing to a premium subscription on Last.fm if your friends have subscribed. They did a randomized experiment to study that. And then another study says that the more socially engaged you are, the more involved you are in the community of a site, the more likely you're going to convert to premium, right? So putting these, so this last study actually talks about this ladder of engagement that you can climb on Last.fm. You can shout about a song, you can like a song, you can love a song, you can create a playlist, you can make friends, you can listen more, and as you go up this ladder of engagement, as you engage more in the community, you're more likely to pay for a subscription, right? So if we sort of put this together, we see that social engagement drives premium subscription. That's from the last paper I just talked about. Premium subscription can be influenced by peer influence. You can be influenced by your peers in order to make other premium people subscribe to premium. And so what we're interested in is there a virtuous cycle? What happens once you pay for a premium subscription? Do you become more engaged? So we flip the question and ask, does paying cause an increase in social engagement? So if you bought this energy drink priced at $2.99, how many push-ups could you do? 10? 15? Okay. 50. Anindo can do 50, of course. What if it's on sale for, that's supposed to say $1.49, for $1.49? How many push-ups could you do? Half? It's true. So apparently, so this study has been done, this experiment has been done, so discounting the price of a drink sets lower expectations for a person who's buying this drink. So what they found in this study is that there's diminished performance in both cardiovascular activities, such as doing push-ups, and mental activities, such as solving puzzles, right? So we draw from this, and in the same vein, we say, does paying lead to higher expectations and higher performance? Is there a sunk cost effect also, right? So other research has shown that once you start paying for something, now that you've paid for it, you have to make sure you maximize what you've paid for, right? You have to do everything you can to get the most out of what you've paid for. So we want to know if this, based on this literature, we're deciding to sort of see if this virtual cycle exists. So we do this using data from Last.fm. So that's my colleague, Ravi Bapna. He has this profile in Last.fm, which is really my profile, and then with his picture on top of it. But he's clearly a subscriber, right? So this is where the influence comes in terms of subscription. You can see his activity in terms of love tracks. He's made no posts. He only has one playlist and made no shouts. And he has one friend, me, right? So we sort of use this. We use the information you can get from somebody's Last.fm profile to sort of causally infer whether adoption of premium drives more social engagement. It's important to try to do this causally, right? So it's hard to do because we can't randomize. I won't get into details about that, but I will tell you sort of how we deal with that. So what we do is we sort of create a treatment group and a control group as if we're doing an experiment, and we match these people to make sure they're similar on observable characteristics such as the demographics that you saw were available on somebody's profile, as well as observable behavior such as friending, shouting, and listening to account for unobservable characteristics, right? So somebody might decide to become a premium subscriber, or people might decide to be premium subscribers, and we don't know why. It could be based on unobservable characteristics. We actually create a control group with people who have decided to adopt in the future, right? So these people are all similar in that at some point they adopt premium subscriptions, so they're not different from each other, but at one period in time, the 4,000 random adopters have not have adopted, and these 4,000 random adopters have not adopted, right? They eventually adopt, so we don't worry about unobservables. We compare these two groups, right? The treatment group and the control group, and we actually find that payment does cause social engagement. The treatment group, in this case, makes more friends, loves more, shouts more, and listens more, right? So these are the numbers. We're comparing the treatment group with the control group. But what you need to get out of that is that the premium users compared to non-premium users do 63% more shouting, 17% more listening, and 69% more loving, which leads very nicely into the online dating portion of this talk. But the idea overall is that this virtuous cycle is actually completed, right? So we do see this relationship between social engagement, premium subscriptions, which leads to more premium subscriptions, and we know that social engagement leads to more social engagement. So when you're socially engaged with people who aren't premium subscribers, you can influence them to subscribe to premium more, and this cycle continues, right? So that's sort of the story with the virtuous cycle of engagement and premium subscription. The second part of this is breaking down what's actually in the premium subscription, right? So we look at this in the context of dating and mating. So online dating, it's a pretty big industry. There are lots of different sites for all the different types of people out there, right? So we have christianmingle.com, chemistry.com, we even have indiandating.com, senior people meet for those over 65 looking for love, okcupid.com, which many of you may have heard of. A lot of these sites are under one umbrella, but they're all out there with the intention that they want their users to find love, right? So this is actually quite a prevalent phenomenon. 46% of the single population in the US uses online dating to find a partner. 6 million people used online dating sites in India in 2012. And this number is expected to grow by 2015 to 115 million people. So this industry is actually quite large. So the question we're asking here is, what is the causal impact of an individual feature in the context of online dating that are part of premium subscriptions on behavior? So as I said before, many of the online dating sites have these different premium features that are listed on your right. And and so when we look at, in general, premium features, we see that the line where it says quasi-manipulation shows that premium features overall, subscribing to the premium subscription overall, actually increases the number of matches you get, right? So the goal of being on an online dating site is to have a large number of matches. When I sign up for the premium subscription, I'm going to have more matches. 0.35 is the number you want to look at. So you have more matches when you sign up for premium subscription. That's great. Premium subscriptions lead to higher matching. But when we actually break this down, right, you have people who self-select into premium subscribing, so we decided let's look at one individual feature and actually see what happens. So the feature we're interested in looking at is anonymous browsing. So part of the premium package in online dating sites is that you can browse other people's profiles anonymously, right? So if you think about non-anonymous browsing, which is the default, if I have a suitor on an online dating site and they visit my profile, I can see that. I go to my recent visitors page and I can see that this person has visited my profile. This is the default. So think about this. We'll just take a second to think about this. If all of us use Facebook, right? Many of us use Facebook. How would your behavior change if your friends could see that you were checking them out on Facebook? Would it change at all? Would you maybe stop looking at that one profile over and over and over again? Yeah, probably, right? Something would change a little bit, right? So online dating sites have this feature called anonymous browsing, where my suitor can come visit my site, my profile, but I have no idea that that person has come to my site, right? So it says I have no recent visitors, or that person's not listed on my recent visitors, right? So anonymous browsing can lead to disinhibition in viewing, right? So if I'm completely anonymous, like we are on Facebook, I'm willing to search and look at anybody's profile because they don't know that I'm doing that. But at the same time, maybe there's something different in the dating context in that you can't leave this trail. You can't leave this weak signal that somebody's interested in you. I don't know that that person's interested in me because they're not leaving a signal, and maybe they're too shy to go to the next step and send me a message. So this is leaving a weak signal, and maybe in online dating that is important, right? So when you're non-anonymous, the ability to send a weak signal comes from viewing profiles and leaving a trail. And in fact, this is a key decision for online profiles. Online platforms like Mixi, which is Japan's Facebook, they were actually deciding whether to implement something like this or not. Friendster, whoever used Friendster back in the day? Anybody? Right? So you could actually see who visited your profile, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. MySpace and Facebook doesn't currently let you do that, and maybe there's a reason for it. And weak signaling in the context of dating is a little difficult to do in the real world. It's really hard to sort of give somebody a hint that you're interested in them when you're out at a bar. So we study anonymity in the context of an online dating site. We have the dating site we work with is not called mooncherie.com. That's my dear and grammatically incorrect French, but we had to hide the name. So it's one of the largest online dating sites in North America. We have data on 100,000 users from this dating site. We have data on all of their behavior for a set of 3 months, right? So incoming and outgoing profile views, incoming and outgoing messages, so who they looked at, who they sent messages to, and a variety of demographic data, age, gender, attractiveness based on other users' ratings, sexual orientation, and subscription. For the purpose of the study, we did focus on heterosexual individuals. So, like I said, what we really cared about is understanding this causal impact of anonymity on behavioral outcomes, right? So to do this, we did a randomized field experiment. So we had a set of 100,000 randomly chosen users within one geographic area. We gifted 50,000 of them with the ability to browse anonymously, right? So the default on the site is non-anonymous browsing. We gave them the gift of anonymous browsing for a month, and then we observed their behavior. So this resulted in a ton of data that came out of that. So overall, in our 3-month period, we had 9.8 million messages sent, 56 million profile views, about 650,000 matches. So just with our 100,000 users that we had in our field experiment, these people interacted with over about 2.7 million other users, and the length of all these messages together was huge, right? So as we might expect, the views sent, the number of people I look at if I'm anonymous, increases, right, when I'm anonymous. That's what view sent means. So treated users, people who are anonymous, visited 12% more profiles, and that's 10% for men. So women visited 12% more profiles when they're anonymous than when they were not anonymous, and men visited 10% more profiles. So just to give you an idea of how we did this, how we defined a match, and this was validated by the organization we worked with, is an exchange of 3 messages. So I send you a message, you send me a message back, and I respond. And that equals a match. And the results that you'll see are robust to many more message exchanges as well. So what's interesting is, if you remember from before, we had the premium subscriptions actually leads to more matches. Here we see when you just look at anonymity actually decreases the number of matches that you get, right? So we have a reduction in number of matches, and this effect is much stronger for women than for men, right? So this sort of makes us think about whether these premium features that are part of a premium subscription actually add value to the users. So we see an 8% reduction in matches for men, and a higher impact on women. 20% reduction in matches for women. So that just shows that the total matches went down. So we had to break this down, right? So why does this happen? You think that if you browse more, you're more disinhibited, so I'm going to view more, I'm more likely to message the person that I'm actually interested in, and this is going to end up in more matches, right? But if we break down the matching process, you say, okay, so there's viewing first, and then you have to start the messaging, and then you match, right? An exchange of 3 messages is a match. So viewing is a sender sends me a message, right? So a view sender, looks at me, looks at my profile, that's a viewing. Messaging is that they either send me a message, which to me would be an incoming message, or I send somebody else a message, which to them would be an incoming message, for me would be an outgoing message. And then a match is an exchange of these 3 messages, right? So an outgoing match is initiated by me, an incoming match is initiated by somebody to me, right? So when we look at views sent, we know that yes, people generally, as we said before, people generally view more. Both females and males increase the amount of viewing when they are anonymous. When we look at received views, however, right, the number of views that I get from other people, this decreases when we're anonymous, right, significantly for both females and males, right? So this is not treated, treated, not treated, treated for me, females and males. So it decreases significantly for both females and males when you're anonymous. Messaging, again, sent messages, no difference between when you're anonymous and non-anonymous. But again, when we look at message received or incoming messages, we see that it decreases significantly for both women and men, right? So those are just the numbers to show you that that's actually happening. And the bottom line for this is it's all inbound communication, right, that is being inhibited by anonymity. And then when we look at matches, outgoing versus incoming matches, there's no change in outgoing matches. But when you look at incoming matches, there's a significant difference, right? So this is sort of what's driving the result, is that you don't have the weak signal, right, that you have when you're non-anonymous, right? So if I'm going to somebody else's profile, I am no longer able to leave a weak signal. So there's no trigger for them to send me an incoming match or an incoming message. So because of the incoming messages or the lack of incoming messages, the number of matches decrease. So we found this was significantly stronger for women. Women in general are 5 times less likely to message, only 2 times less likely to view, right? So women are still maybe in that social norm. We're still in that social norm where we don't make that first explicit move by sending a message, right? But we can leave a weak signal. And when we take away the power to leave a weak signal with anonymity, sort of our weapon is taken away. So more than 70%, 5% of total matches for women are incoming matches, and we're taking away the ability to get an incoming match when we take away the non-anonymous browsing, right? And this is compared to men whose matches are less than 25% of their matches are incoming matches, right? So that's just showing that. So if we think about Facebook becoming an online dating platform, would it really work, right? So one of Facebook's key features is that it's non-anonymous browsing, but we see that in the context of online dating, anonymity doesn't actually increase your outcome or make your outcome better. So if you're thinking about these small feature implementations for your site, you have to think about the bigger impacts of what they're going to be, right? So the next part of this is just what about the quality of the match, right? So maybe in the offline world, through experience, we learn how to choose better. We become more selective over time. Does this actually happen in the online world? What is the role of anonymity in the online world? So if we think about the sequence of events where I get a message, because I'm anonymous, maybe I'm more likely to check out the person who sent me the message, and then I decide whether or not to reply. This get, check, reply sequence, we can sort of see if people actually, once they check out the sender, are as likely to reply or if they're not, right? And so you get a message, you check out the message sender, then do you reply or not? This we can see if selectivity manifests itself. So what we find is that after receiving a message, both treated women and men do check out more. They are more disinhibited as they were before, but treated women actually reply less, while men have no significant change in their reply. So anonymity makes women pickier, more selective, but men stay the same. I won't make any judgments on that. When we look at the sample split on attractiveness, this is user-rated attractiveness, we see that attractive women are actually more hurt more with the treatment, right? So they actually, to leave a weak signal actually is what really triggers a response for men for more attractive women. So maybe guys are socially inhibited too. So I talk really fast. I hope you guys have questions. So just to conclude really quickly, we're currently, this is ongoing work. This is one feature we looked at in the premium bundle of this online dating site, and we are starting experiments with the other features as well. So I think this is really going to be a cool package of understanding how features in the premium subscriptions actually matter and actually affect behavior on the site, and maybe even figure out how to price. I switched it, how to price those appropriately in order to create the most value. The second part of this is sort of looking at, we've seen how important mobile is these days, and we actually find that mobile plays a big role in online dating as well. So as soon as you've adopted the mobile app, and this relates to what Professor Kush said the other day, the users who use a mobile app are more active, and that's still ongoing. We're still working on that. So some key takeaways from this is, in the big picture, when we're looking at premium subscriptions in general, there's a virtual cycle between engagement and payment. So the bottom line is, if you encourage engagement in freemium sites, which is possible to do, you can sort of drive the cycle to happen and create value by inducing people to subscribe to premium. So the next conclusion reminded me of this book called The Power of Pull. So small moves smartly made can set big things in motion. So small design choices, such as anonymity features or other small features, can have big impacts on individuals and your matching outcomes, and actually matching outcomes as a whole have a huge impact on society. So those are the key takeaways for today. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Any questions?
Hi, Professor. It was
Hi.
a very nice presentation
Thank you.
that we saw. I'm Ankur. I work for the hospitality industry. I would like to ask a couple of questions. First one, you mentioned about discounting. If a person discounts the price, the level of engagement with the consumer goes down. So what do you think if we discount our products? Like, I'm a revenue manager, so I need to, stay at par with my competition. So if I discount my hotel product, would that impact my consumers, as in my high-end consumers? Are they less likely to, stay with me or go with my competition? So is price really a factor? What you feel?
That's interesting. I think in digital space, that's probably different. The impact of price is probably different. The example here was more that people with sports drinks, right? People felt like their performance actually declined if they were given a sports drink that was discounted. I don't know the answer to your question. I think that's a hard question to answer.
The thing is, like, if you see Facebook, there's a terminology on Facebook, poke, where you can poke someone instead of sending a messages, and instead of LinkedIn also has a premium services. So do you feel that having such kind of services really engages the consumer? Like, I personally subscribe to LinkedIn premium services, but the level of engagement, like, I was not able to engage properly. So as you mentioned that, the freemium services actually leads to better results, better engagement levels. So I'd like to check, is there something more which can be done on that part? As in, if Facebook has a premium services, which helps you to, like in Facebook, there are certain restrictions. You cannot view other person's profile unless you are friends with them. So if you basically have a freemium account, would that help you more?
Encourage engagement? Yeah, perhaps. So the communities where this is probably most applicable are communities that are more open, right? Where you can engage with other users. The purpose of the community is to engage with other users who you don't necessarily know, right? So when you're thinking about a product like music, you want to learn from people who you don't necessarily know about their music tastes and music preferences. And so that's why the engagement is really important.
Does it really lead an impact on the buying behavior of a consumer, on the buying pattern of a consumer?
In this context, it does impact, right? So the more socially engaged you are, the more likely you are to pay. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You have a question there.
No.
Have you looked at how subscription model affects the activity of users? As in, if it's a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription? Because websites offer both options, and if you're taking a monthly subscription, you're paying every month, so you're reminded every month to use the service or the premium package. But then if you're paying yearly, so you might not use it so often. So have you looked at that kind of pattern?
Yeah, we haven't looked at that. We've looked at just a monthly subscription right now. I have a feeling that maybe given the way you pay for these subscriptions now, where it feels pretty free all the time once you put your credit card number in, I'm not sure that's going to make much of a difference, but that's an interesting question to ask. Yeah. No more questions?
Questions?
Hi.
Hi.
Really interesting presentation, but one consumer behavior wherein we give a trial period for a premium services. So have you have any data in terms of post the trial period, what percentage of people do actually leave the freemium service and what percentage do continue?
Sorry, what was the second part of that?
So what percentage of people do leave the premium service, they enjoy it for 60, 90 days of their trial period,
yeah.
and after
And-
that they say, hey, I'm done.
Yeah, so they just take advantage of the free trial and then they don't. I don't have any data on that, but that's more of the paid model, and I'm not sure about that. We don't have any data on that. Yeah. We can get data in the online dating context about who stays with premium over time and who drops out, but the impact of free trial on actual subscription, I'm not sure about.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, then we'll thank.
May I request Professor Mehra to give away a token of appreciation?
Thank you very much.